let's talk about this or that section. Okay. Shout out once again. I promise we just need to have an EYL section, right? We need to really have just an EYL section. So EYL, and this is one of the interviews that really like inspired me in Investfest. I'm still waiting for that
You're telling me.
the Tyler Perry one to drop, but the Steve Harvey one was really, really, really fire, right? And he says something in there that I actually wanted to have like a discussion about because we hear often that the biggest reason for entrepreneurs to be stuck, not to do certain things, not to execute is literally because they just don't start. So let's just hear what Steve Harvey has to say before I really go into why I don't know if that's the real reason. So let's go.
Hardest thing is to start. Start, man. Most people are frozen with fear, and you frozen with the how-to. You can't figure out how to make $1 million, so you never start. You ain't got to know how to make $1 million. Who told you that? You got to start, man. You got to take a leap of faith. Quit tripping yourself out of the blessing because you worried about the how-to. God ain't nowhere in the Bible told you to figure it out. He said, ask, believe, receive. Then he said, faith without works is dead.
So first off, that is a fire clip. Okay, fire. My only debate, right, about this is I don't, and maybe this is where I'm a little deep for no reason, but I just don't think it's just because they don't start because they don't have faith or whatever it is. There's something like deep down inside of just like, it's not about the how. Because I know a lot of people, I'm actually very close to one person who, if they don't know the how, they're just in the same place because they know how to do this particular one thing, right? And that's all they feel comfortable about. And that's what they're going to do. But because I understand a few people that are that way, it's not just that. It's a deeper meaning of whether it is, I really haven't seen this anywhere else, whether it is a pure doubt inside of them, whether it is not feeling supported. I think there is a deeper thing than you're failing because you don't start. Like, can we get more to the root of the issue of why you don't start than just blanket statement, even though it's true. I'm not Steve Harvey. Hello, if you're watching this, I'm not saying it's not true. Okay.
Right.
I think that's very surface level, right? But I think there is a deeper conversation that needs to be said about why people don't start. And I don't even know how that gets started, but it's we're not always going to know the how about things. We're not.
Yeah.
Especially if we are people who are creating our own lanes on things. There's not a how. There's not going to be that, right? It's going to be, do I have enough belief in myself? Do I have and some people do need the backing, right? I get it. Some people are going to move without the support. And I'm not even saying just family, just somebody. Hey, you got this, right? There's going to be some people that truly need that. And I don't want to hear, well, it's not meant for them. If they don't do it in this kind of way, they're not meant for this lifestyle. Like, that's such BS. It's so annoying, right? It's so annoying. If they don't sacrifice this amount, they're not meant for this. If they don't move in this way and can't figure it out, they're not meant for this. Like, some people truly just need the guidance for them to start, right? And maybe it just takes certain people longer. And I get it, the motivational kind of just start, get it. But
Mm-hmm.
let's have that conversation of why they're not starting.
Yeah.
It's a deeper
Yeah.
meaning, but that's just maybe I saw too into it. I don't know, but I loved it because as the surface level person that I am, of like there were certain things that triggered with me. I was like, damn, you're right. I don't need to know the how. All right, I got it. Right?
Yeah.
Bang. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do that. Hence why I'm doing a year planning session tomorrow, right? Or whenever you hear this, the year long session kind of thing, right? Cool. Gonna go. But there's other people that may take 20 years to finally feel warm and fuzzy about certain things.
Yeah. Yeah.
How can we push them or make them, cuz the first step is always about identifying. So
Yeah.
what would that even look like for them?
Yeah, I think for me, man, the only thing that kept coming to my mind as you were talking, and definitely you said the word belief, which I agree. Part of it is that is being able to have some level of belief or faith in your ability or just the journey that things will unravel as you go. But the other part, I feel it's either misinformation or missing information.
Mm,
I feel that's part of it too because my thought process is someone in that person's psychology, they started to believe that I have to have all my ducks in a row beforehand for this thing to work.
right.
And so if that becomes your paradigm or your idea around this is the only way success can work out in my favor, then you're never going to start because in your mind you don't have it. You don't have it ready yet. Now, if you get a different level of information or a different type of information and you can start to truly believe into it, you start to really see that you will never be ready. You will never have all your ducks in a row. You actually get to a very special place when you can give it your all and know that even then, it's still not going to be ready or go according to plan. So
Mhm.
it's like, yes, take your time and plan, but within your plan, know that things are not going to go according to plan. The minute you can muscle up the courage, I feel, to really start to take action with that in mind, something special really begins to happen because, like they say, what luck favors the prepared. It's like, oh, you're lucky. Well, I was prepared though.
Mhm.
Luck must have come my way for a reason. And so I do get it. Like I get it's both sides, but I also got to say it's either a lack of, say, some level of growth, like personal growth, to
Mhm.
think that that's the only way you can succeed. And then somewhere along the journey, the information that you were given is the only information that you continue to believe in, not ever thinking that, wait, well, let me study other people because I'm big on that too. I'm big on taking other people's credibility or other people's journey and taking the ingredients of it and saying, okay, well, how can I maybe apply that into my journey? And when you start to see that every single thing that started, it didn't start great. There were always a ton of revisions and it cycles, meaning that once you master it, you got to go through that process again to make it better. It never stops. And so when we stop thinking of success as just this one shot thing and we get to a final destination and it ends, you start to become better at it because you realize that success and greatness is a rhythm. It's something that you flow and follow into, and it has a routine. And if you can just follow that same cycle with whatever little creative moves that you got to make within it, you start to find the rhythm of success. And so that's why I feel it's a combination of missing information or misinformation. And then, of course, that belief, because in your mind, you're thinking, well, maybe it'll never be me, or maybe I don't have it yet, or it doesn't happen for people like myself. And that's not the truth. I do believe it happens for everybody when you start to pay attention to different types of information.
Okay, so let's talk about that, right? So the because I love how you said the personal growth, right? So the misinformation or no information, right? A solution for that would be what? Just start reading, start watching stuff, start getting yourself in the room. Like, what would you say?
Yeah, definitely. All of what you just said, but pair that with belief, because I think the example of at least the two people that you mentioned, what I know about them is that they are in the room,
Mm-hmm.
but the belief component is missing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like you have the information, you have the examples, you have the blueprint. You
Okay.
see a lot of different people doing it.
Okay. I
Well,
got
the
it. Wait,
only
I got to
element.
follow up. I got to follow up. I got to follow up. Okay. So what would give them the belief? Because, okay, we could get deep and it could be on a faith status. And I don't think, if we're talking about a particular person, that person struggles with the faith part. So
Yeah,
what would help with the belief? Because there's not,
yeah,
because like a blanket statement of a solution would be like create small wins from
right.
my standpoint as
No,
an
that's real.
answer, right?
Hmm.
After that, because to sit there and say certain people didn't have, yes, people were doing like this like secret code of a conversation, but you may be feeling this too, okay? So this particular person has small wins, has seen multiple small wins, and yet there isn't a belief strong on faith. So, but there still isn't a belief having people saying, hello,
Mm,
you're that person. What is
yeah.
wrong with you? Still no belief. What other steps do you believe? And we're using belief and believe a lot. Sheesh.
Mm,
Um, do you believe for those people who are in that same thing that has the support, that has the faith, that has the momentum, or not even the momentum, because maybe the small wins doesn't even give them the momentum. What else can provide that, in
yeah.
your opinion?
Stop. Yeah. I mean, look. You're almost like pulling out the spiritual side of me, which is
Come
something
on.
that I,
Wait, it
I
has to
try to
come out.
keep
It
it.
has to come out
Yeah,
once in a while because you strong on that. So
yeah,
I gotta trigger you on some things. Because when you talk like that, it's great.
yeah. Well, I mean, recently here's kind of like my newfound idea around it, right? And I don't mean this to offend anybody, but I do believe that people who say that they are believers, they tend to be the most hypocritical people, right? And that might upset some people, but here's why I'm saying that. How can you say you're a believer, but you're allowing the fear or the whatever lack to stop you from the things that you say you believe in? But
You just
that's
hurt
one of the
some.
most
You hurt some people's feelings on that. Jesus.
but I'm telling you because that was like my legitimate experience, right? And when you start to approach this with a logical standpoint, you start to really see some of the contradictions or the gaps in your own behavior. So for me, I was someone walking around saying, yes, I'm Muslim, I'm a believer. But then whenever I would not do something, my main reason for not doing it was because of fear. And so at some point I had to stop. And this was again before social media and this idea of faith over fear started to sound really attractive. I just sat down and I looked at it from a logical standpoint. How can you say you're someone of faith, but the reason why you're not doing the things that you know you want to be doing or supposed to be doing is because you have fear? Now I'm not a scientist, but isn't the idea of having faith is to believe that you get me? So I started to see, and then, but that's why I go back to the personal development, because in my own development time of really pressing and trying to build the fear, to make to build the faith and make the faith muscle stronger than the fear muscle, I started to come to more of a spiritual enlightenment, which was more of a peaceful one. And I said, the only thing I fear today is to lose my relationship with God. That's the only fear I have. I don't fear nothing else. I don't fear no man, no woman, no loss, no money, no power. I don't fear it because I know my faith powers all of that, right? It completes it for me. And so when you start to process your spirituality from a logical standpoint, just for a little bit, because to some extent, some people will say, well, faith doesn't make sense. We're told to believe in the things that you can't see. Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. But for some areas of it, if you were to just process it from a logical standpoint between what you believe, what you say you believe, and the things that you tell yourself, you would start to remove a lot of the gaps or identify some gray area like, wait, that don't make sense. How you say you believe this, but this is the thing that you're telling yourself. And just little by little, as you cancel some of that stuff out, you at least get a hint of the changes that you got to make. And those are just the changes that have happened for me. I mean, you can't tell me otherwise. A kid who didn't speak English, was bullied and made fun of, this whole experience to the relationship I have with myself today. Forget the external world. I really am proud of myself. Like, I can sit here and say, I feel good. I don't take things personal. I don't get defensive as much as I used to. I don't get emotional as much as I used to. I don't get revved up as much as I used to try and show I'm all macho and big, because I'm good now. I worked that inner part of me. And I realized that a lot of people who don't have that experience, it's not that you don't have it or you don't deserve it or you can't be it. You just got some work to do. And if you were to remove some of those contradictions between what you say you believe and the things that you actually believe, that's the gap.
When did that happen for you?
The last year, when I got married too. I think.
So people get married or get married again.
Marriage has been beautiful for me, man. I think marriage put up probably the biggest mirror, personal mirror. Because, like I said, every step revealed something different, but definitely getting married and having that mirror there in front of me helped me to see a lot more of myself in ways that I didn't see before. And for you to solve a lot of those marital issues, the minute you get emotional and you start blowing up, the solution is out the window. And so I started to channel, that control a little bit. And then I started to slowly but surely start ripping away my emotions and my ego, or that attachment from what feedback I was getting, because that was bad. And man, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for my wife, and I'm grateful for God first and foremost. Nicky said be spiritual, so y'all gonna get the Friday. I guess.
I was gonna say, you, based off like our relationship, every Ramadan season, like, I see growth within you. So that's why I like when you talk about this, because each year it's something of like a new aha moment based on, because it's like, if y'all go back into our lives and podcasting, you will know when he goes through that, right? Shout out to my mom. It's like, did he eat today? Like, he looks cold. Like,
yeah.
But I see that, and I think that it's cool, because I know even some people who are close to you who would just has seen your growth, that are like, yo, they're not Muslim or anything. That's like, yo, I want to be part of that because I see your growth. So that's why I like you talking about this, because of your own personal growth with everything. Plus, shout out to wifey. Hello. Love you. Still love you. But because some people really just need to hear that side of it too. And that's why I didn't leave out the part where Steve Harvey spoke about God or anything like that. Because I still think, from like just a higher power standpoint, we have to hear that, because a lot of the things that we move when it comes to entrepreneurship, aspiring entrepreneurs, it does have to go about faith. And that is some things that we don't see or touch or anything like that. So it does take that understanding of having faith first for it to translate in other things that we do. What I will say is there's something that I'm still working on, as far as having faith in man, period.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I have faith in the situation. I have faith that it will work. I may not have faith in you that it'll work because you're human. Right. And so that's something that I'm still working on and understanding that if I have faith in the situation, period, that the pieces that are placed in there, I still have to have faith in that too. It's hard. That part's hard.
Yeah.
And
I think
go ahead.
I was gonna say I think the final balance to it, and it's actually to exactly the point that you're making, it's to have faith but no expectation from man. So it's like I have faith in the creator and I'm gonna do what I gotta do, but I don't have I don't expect that you're going to, like, if I get it, oh wow, that's a bonus, thank you. But I'm not banking on it from man. So to your point, I do think that will save you a couple of disappointments or heartbreaks, the listeners, I'm saying, and hopefully Nikki too. But I think that that's the final piece.
I like that.